Hi there. Okay. Last video was a little too long, so I have to shrink this down a little bit. So, I'm going to speed through this a little bit. Now, today I'm going to be helping to teach about cells and their old division and with kind of what makes them up a little bit. So, to start off, we'll shrink down into the nucleus, which has our chromosomes. And now chromosomes are made up of nucleic acids, proteins, and DNA. And these chromosomes, you require 23 to create a cell. And of course, there's mutations and everything, but I'm not going to get into that because that'll bring me off track. So, these are thread-like substances made up of nucleic acids, proteins, and DNA. And now you may be wondering, what is DNA? So, if I can find it, DNA is the double helix. Imagine a ladder, a three-dimensional like rubber ladder, and you took it and you spun it and kept the bottom firm. It'll create this sort of double helix, as I said before. And that looks something like this in a 2D illustration. Now, DNA kind of makes up our genetic coding and what makes us us. It withholds our genes, or makes up our genes, I should say, because genes are really just a section of DNA. And now that section of DNA falls under these couple letters. And those letters stand for, they're nucleotides, which makes up DNA. And that's why I have different colored rungs of the ladder, we'll say. So, we have cytosine, adenine, thymine, and guanine. And so those pair to each other with C going to G, or cytosine to guanine, adenine to thymine, thymine, adenine, guanine to cytosine. And so that creates our genetic makeup and everything that makes us us. And so that's why it's yellow to pink here. I'm trying to show that they're connecting to each other in some way. So genes are just the section of DNA. And so, blowing it back up to the cell level, we have cell division. And so, you may be kind of wondering what that is. It's really easy. It's really literally just cells dividing. And so, there's two versions of this. There's meiosis and mitosis. So, meiosis, we'll start off with, is for sexual reproductive purposes and genetic diversity. And so, the two parents, when fertilization occurs, it has two sets of chromosomes right here. It's kind of hard to see. The pink and the yellow. Those are two different sets of chromosomes. And so what happens there is they combine, and inside of the interphase, I forgot I had that wrote down, and they kind of mesh together. You can see that, how it's pink over here and it's yellow right there. They connect together and sort of intermingle with each other. Now that cell divides into two different cells, which hold two chromosomes in there, two full chromosomes. And now our body then divides them once again into 4 haploid sex cells, or the daughter nuclei. And now all of these are different in some way. And that kind of makes up us and how we are also different from our parents. We are just a combination of them, and so we're not going to look exactly like one or the other. And now, the other form of cell division is mitosis. Mitosis is identical copies of the original nuclei. And so, it houses halves of chromosomes, forms it into 2 chromosomes. Then they split apart and create 2 identical nuclei, as opposed to meiosis, where we form entirely different nuclei. And now, the main difference between meiosis and mitosis is meiosis is for sexual reproductive purposes, genetic diversity and such. Meanwhile, mitosis is mainly for, say I get a cut on my hand, my body doesn't want to keep myself bleeding, it patches up and new skin cells need to be formed, and so mitosis occurs, recreating the skin cells and making my hands look all pretty again. And so that's all I've got. And I hope this helped you learn a little bit about everything, and I hope you could see the illustrations. So